Hello, I'm John Manimus Medeiros, and I would like to talk to you about religion for adults. What? Religion for adults? Geez, I thought you were going to talk to us about sex for adults. No, I'm sorry. I know that's a popular topic on the internet, but I'm going to talk about religion for adults. Now, don't run away. Don't be a chicken. Please just hear me out, because I promise you that I am going to show you that religion for adults is actually even sexier than sex for adults. Now, how can that be? Because you know how you hear today from a lot of people who claim to be Christian. They try to tell you that you have to choose between religion and science, that you can't be religious if you believe in evolution, and if you believe in evolution, that's secular and that's not religious, and you're being bad and you're not being Christian. Well, I'm going to show you that not only is evolution compatible with the Christian religion, and not only is evolution consistent with the teaching of the gospel message, I'm going to show you that the gospel message actually teaches evolution. The gospel message tells us that survival of the good steward is survival of the fittest. Now, I'm not going to try to prove this to you. I'm going to show you how you can prove it to yourself, because I conducted a scientific experiment, and you can conduct exactly the same experiment to see if you get the same results, and I predict you will get the same results. Now, here's the way the experiment goes. First, I studied the gospel message. Now, I did that many years ago, and I worked on this problem for many, many years, but you can do it in 2 to 3 hours. Now, I did not see the gospel message as being about morality. My initial reaction was that this man knew too much, and he seemed to be teaching a message of science. What I saw in the gospel message was a description of evolutionary science, with the Gospels telling us that if we humans were not good stewards, we would be destroyed by our own stupidity. Now, I decided to test this viewpoint over my lifetime by studying history and the social sciences very carefully, and how people learn and how people categorize knowledge. Of course, I also studied the physical sciences. But the key to how I discovered what I feel is the true message of the Gospels is that I asked the right questions. First, I asked, how is the gospel message usually discredited? It turns out that the most common way that the gospel message is discredited is by statements that it teaches a very idealistic and unrealistic form of morality that no human being could possibly practice. So what I wanted to find out is the gospel message more credible when we study it as a scientific message? Here's what you have to do. You have to set aside the idea that the gospel message is about moral behavior, about being punished for bad behavior and rewarded for good behavior, because that is religion for children. We want religion for adults. In our religion for adults, what we're going to do is we're going to study the Bible, study the New Testament, the gospel parables, as a scientific message. We're going to use 2 principles and 5 questions. Here are the 2 principles. First, the gospel message is about scientific facts. It's not about morality. Second principle, the original purpose of the gospel message, the message that's intended for us to be receiving and understanding, is to tell us what we need to know. To tell us what we need to know in order to survive and thrive as a species. Keeping these 2 principles in mind at all times, here are the 5 questions. First, what is the kingdom of heaven? Second question, what is the main theme or key concept of all the parables? Third question, why are there so many parables about good servants and bad servants? Actually, more parables of that type than any of the others. What do all the good servants have in common? What do all the bad servants have in common? Take notes if you think it will help you. I took notes 3 times in 1977. Here's the results of the experiment for me. First, the kingdom of heaven is the kingdom of life in the universe. Real physical life here on this planet in the real world because our planet Earth is in the heavens, and we're on it. Life is dispersed throughout the universe. This scientific fact that life is dispersed throughout the universe is being gradually confirmed by our space exploration vehicles that find bacterial spores and viruses in comets and deep inside the Earth in rocks and in meteors. And we're finding life and water in far more common places in the universe than we previously thought possible. But this scientific fact of panspermia was taught to us beautifully in the parable of the random sower. You may know it as the parable of the sower, but the sower of the Gospels is not like a farmer on earth who plants seeds only on good ground. The sower of the Gospels plants seeds everywhere, on dry, parched ground, on stony ground, on thorny ground, even in a roadside ditch. That's panspermia. Further, the key concept of the gospel message is the primacy of stewardship. What all the good servants have in common is that they fully understand the seriousness of the invitation extended to them and the opportunity that life offers to them. What the bad servants have in common is simply the opposite. They don't understand the seriousness of the message. They don't get it. They don't understand how important the invitation is to take care of the people and property entrusted to them. So the main difference between good servants and bad servants is intelligence and understanding. There's no necessity for an anthropomorphic God to punish humans for bad behavior and reward humans for good behavior. The evolutionary process will apply to us the same as it applies to all living things. And for us, that means survival of the good steward is survival of the fittest. Because where human beings are concerned, survival of the fittest doesn't mean survival of the strongest. It certainly doesn't mean survival of the most aggressive and cruel and, destructive. It means survival of the smartest. And smart people don't destroy their own environment. They preserve it and protect it. Keep in mind that the key concept is the primacy of stewardship. I'm sharing this story of my experiment because I want the same good things for my neighbors, both near and far, that I want for myself. I want us all to accurately understand the true message of the gospel teaching. That true message, the original message intended for us, is to tell us that it is our privilege and obligation to be the caretakers of one another and of the life-supporting environment on this, our beautiful blue planet Earth. That our beautiful planet is a pearl floating in space has also been confirmed by our space probes that have gone out into space and taken photographs of the Earth from space. But this scientific fact, that our Earth is a pearl of great price, was also taught to us in the gospel parable of the wise merchant, who when he finds a pearl of great price, the pearl of abundant life, he goes and sells all that he has so that he can possess that pearl of great price, which he treasures above all other things combined. This is what we have, our beautiful pearl planet Earth. And this is what we could lose. And that is religion for adults. Enjoy your experiment. I believe it will be the most important thing you will do in your life.